Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is Thursday, July the 30th. This is episode number 357. I'm your host, Rod Bloom. Joining me tonight is my brother, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how are things going?
Well, they're going pretty good, Rod. So camp started, and nobody's been felled by injury in our team yet. So let's
Oh, man.
keep it that way.
Knock on some wood if you got any around you.
Things have been kind of rough around the league so far.
Yeah. Let's hope that's a bug the Browns can avoid. I mean, at least the major stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, some guys are going to get banged up, but hopefully they can avoid the major injuries.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, I mean, camp started. We got some stuff to talk about, and let's before we dive into the Browns, we always like to do our Blitz beverages. So let's pull up our little banner here, Jeff, and let's get that going. So, you said that you've got something new to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So I don't know how this will show up, but I've been experimenting with more fruit infused near beers. Again, if you'd have told me 10 years ago I'd be drinking beer with fruit in it, I'd have said you were crazy.
It's so funny. No alcohol, but fruit. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Would not have thought about that at all.
I mean, so much of my diet now is fruits and vegetables and things like that. But anyway, so luckily this whole category is expanding by leaps and bounds. This zero or low alcohol options keep getting broader every day, and I found this one at the local grocery store. This is kind of a surprise because typically when you go out and you ask for a no alcohol beer, one of the ones that they offer you is Heineken Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, they pretty well represented in restaurants and stuff. Well, Heineken actually now has fruit infused beers. So I've got a Heineken Zero Nectarine Juniper. If you can see this.
Nectarine Juniper. A little bit. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, the Nectarine Juniper.
Yeah. So it sounded interesting, so I thought I'd pick up a 6-pack of this, and this is the first one I've opened.
And what do you think?
Well, you can definitely smell the nectarine. I don't know about the juniper, but you know how Heineken's normally smell a little skunky.
Right.
I mean the nectarine definitely overpowers that. So
good. See what you think.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very fruity flavorly. There's really no trace of Heineken in it. I mean, if you're expecting it to taste like Heineken, it's not going to taste like Heineken at all. But this is probably one of the more, one of the stronger fruit flavored beers I've had so far, I would say. Yeah, the nectarine is very, very upfront on this.
Yeah, I like. I like that in the summer. Again, I kind of lived by that beer fruit law for a long time, and
Right.
but man, they've come out with some really good stuff, and yeah, it kind of makes you take stock, and sometimes it's okay to change the way you look at things,
Right. Well, I can't have a regular just beer anymore, so this just kind of works with my new dietary requirements.
Yeah, and Raul is still he doesn't like the fruit. Raul, you at least got to give it a shot if you haven't done it. So definitely give it a try. There's some great fruity beers out there.
Well, so this technically is not a beer. I mean, it's a near beer. So as far as Raul's concerned, I am not breaking the no fruit in beer rule.
Oh, I break it all the time now. Yeah. There was a time when I would have been ashamed of that, but not anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
So last weekend, Kristen went to with her mom to visit her sister in Athens. Athens is home to the original Little Fish Brewery, and um, they brought me back a growler of beer, which
Ah,
I've been working on this week. Still
okay.
got a few left in it. It's kind
Okay.
of kind of nice. She's like, "Well, that'll probably keep for a while." I'm like, "Well, I don't want to take any chances." So,
Yeah, that goes
um,
goes flat after like 10 days or something, doesn't it?
probably, but I mean, I've had it for about a week, and I got a couple beers left in it. So I'm drinking
Okay.
this in the Arche glass, by the way, kind of a
Awesome.
throwback
Yeah,
here. I dug through the
nice.
glasses a little bit, but this is a Little Fish Spruce Crispy, 5.4% alcohol. Nice, easy drinking beer. Um, I've never eaten spruce, smelled it, but
Yeah.
that's I'm not going to say it really tastes like spruce, but
So you
it's
have
just
you have
got a little bit
spruce
of
and
an
I have
edge.
juniper. I think it kind of feels like
Y-
we should be having a
y-
side of pine nuts or something.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking when you mentioned the juniper. I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to pick juniper out of a beer either, but
Yeah, no.
you know, there's definitely something there. I mean, maybe that's
Mm.
what spruce tastes like,
Okay.
but it's been good though. Little Fish is, I think they make some nice beers, and it's been a very drinkable beer, and probably got a couple left in the growler still, so I'll probably finish those
Cool.
up this weekend. But yeah, it's very cool when anytime somebody brings me beer, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So so let's get to some Brown stuff, Jeff. And we've been talking, for weeks. There's nothing going on, just trying to get to camp and stuff. So not only do we have camp going on, but the Browns have started making, I guess, some moves. So do you want to let's just talk about the extensions first. So
Hmm.
um, I guess in order. So Denzel Ward, and I don't remember the dates on these. It's not really relevant, but Denzel Ward, 2-year extension. Um, I didn't see the total breakdown. I don't know if it's out there, but I know it's up to 62.2 million, 52.3 million guaranteed for 2 seasons. So he's the highest paid DB in the league until the next guy signs a contract. Anyways,
Yeah.
what did the timing on this surprise you? Does the dollar amount surprise you?
No, I don't think the dollar amount surprises me. I think, if you're gonna extend one of the top corners in the league, it's got to be for the top money. I mean, why would Denzel do it otherwise?
Yeah,
Um, Timing maybe a little bit, but you know what? It's really best to put these things to rest early in camp, I think. Get these guys in and ready to go. Um, I guess Delpit was kind of a hold in, and Denzel was sort of um, riding the fence a little bit too. So, yeah, just for clarity, I think it makes sense. Um,
yeah,
Denzel was probably going to play out this year anyway. So unless some sort of a big trade offer came along um, from another team that really desperately needed a corner. And by the way, I think that can still happen. I
trade.
think I don't necessarily think this precludes the Browns from moving him at some point. It might give a little bit more certainty to the team that acquires him that, hey, bring this guy in for 2 to 3 years, depending on how the contract is really structured, right? Even though it carries him through a 29 season, there's probably no guaranteed money that far out. So, I mean, the way most of these contracts are structured, it does give you some clarity though for a couple of years or maybe three if you go out and trade for him. So that might even bring back more assets in the right situation.
It could. I mean, his level of play is certainly, it hasn't dropped off at all. He's 29. Until you see something change, you wouldn't expect it out of Denzel.
Right.
I mean, he's had the concussion issues, but he hasn't had the leg issues that some of the other corners have. So I don't know. I mean, obviously we talked about how important he is to this team.
Yeah.
How desperately they need him on this team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's going to end after this season. He's just not a guy that you replace all of a sudden.
Right.
You might be able to get somebody. It's kind of like the Miles thing. You might be able to bring somebody in who can kind of help replace part of what he did, but you're probably not going to get the same kind of player just all of a sudden.
That's very true. I mean, to go out and find a number one cornerback is almost impossible in this league, unless you're willing to give up an awful lot. And I think from a timing standpoint, the roster construction just mandates that you need to have a few guys to carry you through to 29, give you some stability with all the young guys. And these are a couple of guys that have earned their third contracts, which is really unheard of.
For the Browns,
to get a third contract. So, I like the stability of it. Hopefully these guys can stay healthy and keep playing at a high level. And if they do, it will probably look like a great decision in a couple of years.
Yeah. Jeremy, great to have you back. Jeremy's kind of been on hiatus for a little bit, so we're just giving you crap, but good to have you back and drinking a beer with us. Gibbons tastes like wild hickory nuts. That goes back to your hickory nuts reference, Jeff.
Yeah.
So
Ewell Gibbons. Yeah, haven't thought about
Ewell Gibbons. Oh, Ewell Gibbons. I just saw the Gibbons, and I was thinking he was talking about a drink.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Most parts are edible.
Ewell Gibbons. Wow. Yeah. I had not thought of Ewell Gibbons in a long time either. So, yeah.
Raul always brings the obscure stuff.
He brings it, man. He really keeps us on our toes, and we appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can not like the Denzel signing. First of all, I don't really give a crap about the money, anyways.
No, not at all.
I don't care. I don't care if they sign him for $10 million a season or $40 million a season, because they're gonna figure the money part of it out.
Right.
They always do. For me, it's more about his age and how long he can play effectively and things like that. But I absolutely think that they need some vets, and I kind of wonder if they almost kind of going into this season were targeting the guys that they wanted to be around. Kind of knew that they wanted certain guys around for this rebuild or for this stretch, to get them to get these rookies up to speed, not just rookies, but this young roster up to speed.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want Denzel. People will talk about how much he plays and being hurt and stuff, but man, he consistently plays 14 to 16 games a season.
He misses a game or two.
Yeah, it's not like he's playing 3 games one season, then 10, then 3, then 9.
Yeah.
He plays a lot.
Mm-hmm. And he's a key contributor. I mean, when you look at the impact that a player has on a game, I mean, there's not many guys on the field that have a bigger impact when they're playing. When he's playing at the top of his game, he's the type of player that can dictate the outcome of a game. So just think about from a money standpoint, if you took that 60 million or whatever it is out into the free agent market, what position other than quarterback, which is really not ever available, what position could you spend that money on and get that kind of an impact back? And it would be hard to do in the NFL. So it makes a lot of sense to retain a guy that has been with your franchise forever and loves being here and is a local kid and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was probably an inevitable move. As long as he stays healthy, it's terrific.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree.
And
So
I'm sure that
then,
they're insuring it against the other option.
oh yeah. Yeah. So then they extend Grant Delpit 3 years, money on that 48 million, 35 million guaranteed. A little bit more than his last contract, but guys are getting paid more now, so it's
Yeah.
it's just whatever the market's dictating on guys. Grant's a year younger than Denzel, 28. So I mean, these are two vets, two guys who I don't know if Grant has the impact on the defense that Denzel does, but on overall play with special teams and what he can do on the defense, you know, he's been a key player for the Browns. He's also
Sure.
not getting the same contract that Denzel is.
Right. I mean, safeties don't make what number one corners do.
Right.
But
Right.
if you look at them relative to their peers, I mean, Denzel is being paid like the number one corner in the league, at least for right now. And Grant Delpit's contract is, I think I saw top 9 or something like that among safeties. So,
Which,
uh,
yeah,
I mean, I think his deal is probably a real good value for the organization,
feels like it.
knowing that you don't have a lot of depth behind him. I mean, you've got a guy on his RFA contract in Hickman and then a rookie. So yeah, I think again, solidifying the position, leadership in the secondary, guys who know what's expected back there. You needed, like you said, right? You needed to have some veteran leadership on this team, and I think these two guys are in a spot to do that.
Yeah, I like both moves, obviously. I'll be honest, once they signed Denzel to the extension, the Delpit extension surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me, but it kind of made me think about the direction of the team and what they're thinking as far as not just this season, but what they're thinking over the next few seasons. Because they're signing guys who are 28 and 29 years old to extensions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need some veterans around, but you also have a very young roster. So what do you think? What do you think these two extensions together mean? Is it more that they think they're more competitive now than some of us might think they are, or does it just mean that that's how much they like these players and want them around?
Well, I think for sure the organization feels it's better than the fan base does. I think I've been consistent in that belief that
Yeah.
they definitely feel like they can win sooner than the fan base thinks they can win, and probably more frequently. So these types of moves indicate that you're not in a hard rebuild, a hard reset. You're trying to win as you retool to a younger group of guys. And I think it's somewhat consistent with what they did on the offensive line. If you look at some of the moves that they made in free agency with Elton Jenkins and going out and trading for Titus Howard, those are guys that kind of in the same age range, same experience level, right?
Yeah,
That
that's
that
true.
maybe they're not, premier players at their positions like Denzel is, but um, they bring some, like we said, stability. They help those younger players along. You just can't have rookies everywhere, or it could be disastrous. And you don't want to ruin these young guys by not having any support system around them, before they even can get established in the league.
Yeah, it's for me, it's interesting to look at this as a reset when they have so many guys coming in and who are going to get playing time in the between this year's draft class and last year's draft class. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just, I think, an unusual situation, and I think part of that's probably because of the way they feel about not only the way the guys played who they drafted last year, but because of the guys they were able to get in the draft this year. So I think we're kind of banking on some of these guys that were drafted this year. And I mean, it honestly feels like a pretty safe bet with a lot of these guys that they're going to play pretty well.
Right. Yeah. Individually, I think you've got a nice group of young talent, but they all need to learn how to play at the NFL level. And you're sort of shotgun marrying a lot of different guys, that need to sort of grow up together, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's the long game that Andrew Berry is playing, is how do I get all of these guys to ripen at about the same time? Um, when you think about rebuilding an offensive line and putting an offense together with an identity, um, you plug in certain key pieces that will carry you through 29 when you think your contention window will open. So that means that you have to have your quarterback settled in the next couple of years. You have to have the right young pieces on the offensive line who can be around for a while. And you have to know that your marquee defense isn't going to take a step back, or not too big a step back.
Right. Right.
So
You know, the other thing, and this certainly isn't some great thought or anything, because everybody, you've talked about this, and many of our guests have talked about this too. It's the importance of winning, and I think that because you have these young guys, and great, you're trying to get to whatever season it is when they're going to be competitive, whether
mhm,
that's a season from now, 2 seasons from now. But what's been the downfall most every regime in Cleveland? It's the fact that they haven't won. Okay. And
right,
that's what brings about dissension in the locker room and everything else. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So it really is important that they figure out a way to get some wins while they're coming together. They don't have to win 10 games this year, but if they win two, um, some of these guys who seem like they're all in on the team and stuff, you might start to see some guys start to say some different things.
right, yeah,
So um, and I really wasn't looking at it that way, before, because I'm thinking, we got all these young players, they got a couple years to ripen, like you're talking about, but these guys aren't going to want to lose horribly for 2 years before they're
no,
good. Nobody's
no,
going to want that.
nobody
And
nobody does.
yeah, and I think that probably is a good reason why they signed, or why they extended Denzel and Grant Delpit too,
Mhm. Yeah,
because those guys can help them win.
yeah, definitely. I mean, Denzel on his own is probably worth a couple of wins because of how he impacts the game. I
Yeah,
mean, he will set the tone in that secondary as far as taking the ball away, which is going to be a focus of this defensive scheme is going to be creating turnovers, taking the ball away. And we know that's something Denzel's very opportunistic at.
Yeah.
So set the tone there. Lead these young guys, and steal a couple of wins as a result, and that definitely gives you something to build on. That's what we're looking for. And people have been asking me lately, what do I think is going to happen this year? I've been saying, I feel like if this team can be in the 500 range, plus or minus 500 ball for this year, that would be a pleasant surprise. That would give us something to build on. It would mean that we have answered a lot of the questions. We've started to build an identity. And it puts us in a really strong spot going into next year, regardless of how any of the individual positional battles shake out. Just in the big picture, if the team is able to be a 500 team, now you start thinking about next year differently. Next year becomes an opportunity to build on that and to win more. If you're in, like you said, the 3 to 5 win range again, it's hard to get excited about what are we building here.
Well, and you got guys looking over their shoulder, wondering if they're the next guy to get traded or not, too. And then, and then you're questioning, how hard guys are trying and things like that. So and that's when things start to fall apart. So I think you do have to win. Yeah, and that's why you do need to win a certain amount of games. So so it is about winning. As much as I would like this to just be a season of evaluation and figuring stuff out, they are going to have to.
Yeah,
they're going to have to get some wins. So
trust the process.
Trust the process. Yeah, always.
I'll quote Ronald Reagan: "Trust but verify."
Yeah. So I wanted to get your thoughts on the Browns hosting Jadeveon Clowney, Jeff. He's 33 years old now. He played in Cleveland in 21 and 22, so it's been a few years. But he did have 8.5 sacks in Dallas last year. Led Dallas in sacks and pressures. Not bad for an old guy. I mean, he would come in as a rotational guy. They wouldn't be asking him to come in and, start and, and play 700 snaps or anything like that. So, he's also, I'm sure, talking to other teams. When I pulled him up, that's, everybody else is looking at signing him too. So I don't know if it's what he's looking for, what the Browns would be willing to pay their number 3 or 4 defensive ends. Let's be real. He's not coming in as the number 2 guy at this stage, I don't think. So they've got money in Alex Wright, and still I think like Isaiah McGuire. So
and I think he would really probably be more of a situational guy anyway at this age, right?
Could be. Could be. Yeah.
He'd be more of a pass rush specialist. I don't think you'd see him on early downs.
Yeah, that could be. So is that something you think would help the team?
I've been thinking about this all day, really, and I have mixed emotions because, like we were just talking, you really want to get wins, as many as possible, and adding a player like that, I think, could at least in some measure get you back to where you were before you traded Miles. Get you closer to where you were before you traded Miles, right? In terms of being able to pressure the quarterback up front. Clowney can still, by his presence, cause teams to alter their game plan. So I think it would, in terms of helping the defensive line be successful, I think it would be a good addition, with the caveat that he's got to be a good teammate. if Jadeveon is ready to be a good teammate and sees what we're trying to do here, I think he could probably put a pretty nice feather in his cap in terms of the type of impact he could have this year. I mean, he could probably have one of his better sack seasons in that kind of a role.
Could be. Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I'm thinking, I'm kind of jaded by LeBron James and his ring hunting, and I'm thinking, if I'm Jadeveon Clowney, why am I going to the Cleveland Browns if the Seattle Seahawks want me?
Right. Yeah. When I saw that, I thought, well, if Seattle wants him, he's probably going to go to Seattle.
Right. Go get a ring.
Even if it's less money. Even if it's less money. I mean, where would you go? I would go to Seattle.
Yeah, I would too. I'd go to Houston. I'd go to Seattle before I'd come here. Right. So, yeah.
Unless he really thinks he's going to get more playing time, and he's gonna somehow parlay it into some kind of 2-year contract when he's 33, 34 years old. I mean, why else would he do it?
Yeah, you don't want him coming here for the money.
Right.
I mean, if we have to throw extra money at him to get him to come here, that's the worst case scenario for me, because that's not why you want to. That's not how you want to motivate him.
No.
So, yeah. So if it works, fine. I guess I'm okay with it. Andrew Berry made some comments that they have stayed on good terms, and the history is in the past, and that they can all move on from, because things really did not end well the last time.
No.
So yeah, I mean these guys are all mercenaries. They're
definitely
they're getting paid to come in and do a job, and if that works for us, good. I think there's probably a handful of other guys out there that fall into this same category that the Browns could add at some point. That would be probably as impactful and maybe be slightly better teammates. But I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, I saw that Vita Vea is looking for a trade.
Yeah,
I mean, he's more of a yeah, he wants to get paid. I mean, he's I don't know what they run in Tampa. I mean, he's more of a 3-4 guy, I would think.
Yeah,
I'm sure he could come in and play defensive tackle if you want to.
I mean, he can rush the passer. So I mean, he's more than just your typical, fire hydrant nose tackle. I mean, he can.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
rush.
Definitely.
So I think he would fit in our scheme from that perspective. And I'm sure a lot of teams feel like that he would fit in their scheme. So I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, the guy, he's
3 or 4 D tackles in the league, right? So
right.
Yeah, I think at this point in the season, we're all looking for the magic pixie dust that's going to make us a contender, and I just don't think there's any shortcuts really with where we are in the roster building process.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be giving up 27 draft picks to add Vita Vea at this point.
No.
You got to stick with your plan, and part of that plan, it's seeing what you have in some other guys, rather than just trying to add guys and thinking that you're going to win. So, so yeah, I mean, so you got to find out what you got in Mike Hall. And that even if trading a second rounder in 27 would get you a guy, and that would help you now, it might not be a smart move.
Yeah, I think you need to think about, again, the window for contention. You want all of these guys in their prime in 28 and 29.
You're right. Yeah, and Vita Vea is 31.
Are there any particular safeties that Jeremy would like us to talk about? I just wonder.
We don't talk about guys with stars on their helmet very often. Even though I mentioned the Cowboys already with Clowney.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, he's thinking about it. Yeah, he's thinking about it. Let's see here. So, yeah, I mean, Clowney, I think would be he would be a nice fit, but yeah, I think your comments are all correct. You don't want to overpay for a guy like that. You want to make sure he's here for the right reasons, and if he really wants to be somewhere else, that's probably where he should be.
Yeah.
So, I saw that Joe Royer is away from the team for a personal matter, and don't have any issue with that, and whatever's happening, the Browns are handling it properly and everything. The reason I'm bringing it up is don't know how long he'll be away, so I don't know if it's just going to be a camp thing or how long it'll go on, but I think Joe Royer's obviously the guy who's in line to be the number 2 tight end, right, Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah, I would
So,
say so.
yeah. So what I think this does is it's going to give some other guys chances to get some snaps, some playing time with the first team, and in camp, and and depending how long he's out, maybe further. So it gives guys, and I think people have talked up Carson Ryan a bit too, but we'll see about Jack Stoll, Blake Whiteheart, and Brendan Bates. We'll see who else the Browns like, and while that's truly going to be a battle for the third and or fourth tight end spots, I think it'll actually help the Browns get some clarity on that, by not having Joe Royer around right now.
Yeah.
So,
well, one of those guys is going to have to show some hands. That's the challenge right now. Is that that's not the forte of any of those guys. So,
and Carson Ryan, didn't Carson Ryan have a decent senior season? I thought
maybe.
I mean, but one season in college, it's not. Yeah, I mean, he's got to prove it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what Joe Royer brings is that second option as a receiving tight end, more so than his blocking ability and scheme driven type stuff. I mean,
yeah,
Blake Whiteheart showed glimpses of that a little bit last year. I think he only caught like a handful of balls last year, but
it felt like he caught everything that went his way, though.
Everything that went his way, yeah. So he could be a sneaky surprise if Royer's out for an extended time period.
Yeah, I had no problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, at this point especially, you don't know how many tight ends are going to go with. I think the thought process is that Todd Monken likes tight ends, but he also likes to build the offense around players and their abilities. So if he sees guys with other abilities, I could see him definitely just going another direction and saying, we don't have the right tight ends. We're going to carry more receivers and backs and do some other things.
Keep a fullback like Michael Burton.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, these guys are all fighting for spots.
Yep.
I mean, you would think that Carson Ryan being a draft pick, he was taken. He was taken later in Joe Royer. Was he taken in the 6th or the 7th round?
7th.
Yeah. So
I don't remember, honestly.
But we know Andrew Berry's history. He's probably going to make a team. It'd kind of be surprising if one of the draft picks gets caught because we haven't seen that.
Taylor Green was in the 6th, so yeah, Carson Ryan was in the 7th.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we're cutting a draft pick, but I mean, stranger things have happened. And as the team gets better and younger, and you have tons of draft picks, it's bound to happen.
Yeah, at some point. I mean, if you're not trading them into future, trading them away into the next draft or whatever, you're going to have to cut guys.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. That's why you do that, right? That's why you move those picks into future seasons, is because you don't think all those guys can make your roster.
Right.
Which, that frankly, is what surprised me about them drafting 2 tight ends this year. I mean, the approach has now become with Andrew Berry. Well, if we can't get the guy, let's get a couple of close approximations, and maybe one of them will turn into
We'll
the
see what
guy.
we got. Yeah, we'll carry both guys for a couple seasons.
Yeah.
We'll see which one's better, and then we'll let the one guy go after 2 seasons.
Right.
And then, if we got one guy who turns into a player, then we did pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad strategy. I mean,
No.
we all know that the draft is hit and miss. So the more chances you have, the better. But that does present a problem with a limit of 53 guys on the roster. That you just can't give all of these young guys a chance.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, next year with a whole bunch more picks again, do you go into camp next year with 40 rookies or not rookies, but young guys, like
Young
first,
guys
second, and
in
third
there,
year players.
first, second, third. Yeah.
Yeah. So you at some point you've got to say, okay, we need to have more veteran players who are in their primes who can really set the tone for these guys too.
Yeah, at some point you have to consolidate your picks, trade up, and say, you know what? We're only taking 4 guys this year.
Right.
Because that's all we have room for.
Mm-hmm.
We would be wasting the other picks.
Yeah, you don't need to trade, or you don't need to draft 2 more receivers and 2 more tight ends next year to find your 3 and 4 guys.
No.
I mean, if you're able to do that and find a starter, that's one thing. But that strategy isn't necessarily going to get you starters outside of, well, it's not outside of the first 2 rounds.
Right. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I mean I just want to mention we're not going to talk a ton about quarterbacks, but I just wanted to say that it really does feel like they're having a true Munkin's having a true quarterback competition. He's giving these guys a shot, and he's going to let them figure out who's going to start. I mean, that's what he's saying, and that's kind of how it feels like it is. And I got to tell you, Jeff, I'm not going to overreact to what happens in camp from day to day and who's in the lead and who's not, because it can change. And I just can't get worked up over who they think the starter is now versus 2 weeks from now versus 3 weeks from now. We'll eventually find out who the starter is for week 1. And the starter for week 1 may not be the starter for week 4. But there are so many other questions, so many other players on this team that I'm not going to let the QB spot keep me up at night.
No, I honestly don't care. I don't care who starts week 1. We're going to play 3 or 4 quarterbacks anyway. Somebody asked me this last night, and I said exactly that. 3 or 4 quarterbacks play every year for us. So why do we care who gets the first start? We're going to get a look at a bunch of guys this year. Let's focus on putting together all the pieces around that position so that whoever our quarterback is next year can maybe play 15 games.
Right. Wouldn't that be something?
Right.
So here's a question for you, just totally off the wall. If the Browns do play 3 or 4 quarterbacks, who would the 3rd quarterback played happen to be? Because we know who the first 2 would be.
Right. Gosh. Yeah. There's a world where Palin Green gets an emergency start
as the third QB.
Somewhere around, week 12 or 13 would be my guess. If things really go sideways with injuries, whatever. I mean, we know what Deshaun Watson's shelf life is, right?
Yeah.
No one
Yeah.
is expecting Deshaun Watson to last very long. If something terrible happens and Shador gets hurt early, do you go out and bring in somebody off the waiver wire to start, or do you just give an emergency start to Taylor Green? You might not have an option. He might be the only guy you can get ready to play in a scenario like that. Right?
You start him.
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
run the freaking option or something. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
whatever. I mean, and I think if things progress quicker than that, and when you get in a spot, I think you're signing someone, off the street,
right,
to be your fourth guy.
You're doing another Joe Flacco move.
Yeah. So that begs the question of how long is it before Dylan Gabriel gets traded for a bag of peanuts? I mean, is it going to be not until they get through camp?
Yeah.
And they make sure that they got 3 quarterbacks?
I think he's a camp body to ensure against worst case scenario. And once you're through camp and everybody else in the league is through camp and you see who needs a quarterback, then you go out and start entertaining offers. And yeah, you're right. You're going to do no better than a day 3 pick for him. But you've got to move him for something. I would think if they got a 5th rounder for Kenny Pickett, they might be able to get a 6th rounder for Dylan Gabriel. Some team out there is going to think, he's still got some upside, right? Maybe they didn't watch the tape as closely as we did. But,
or they can fix him. They can teach him to throw to the right side of the field.
Yeah, they always think they can fix
honestly, and this is no offense to Dylan Gabriel. I'm sure he's a great guy. And I'm sure that this guy has a ton of knowledge. I'm sure that he is an asset to our roster.
Sure.
But when the Browns are looking for a QB, they need guys who can play. That's just how it is.
You need a higher ceiling. And Dylan Gabriel is a high floor guy. And we've talked many times about the advantages to drafting somebody with a high floor and complementing him with somebody that has a high ceiling. Okay. And that's really what the Browns did with those 2 quarterbacks last year. So you've seen what Dylan Gabriel's ceiling is. At least in my mind, there's really nothing else to discover about him.
Right. The only thing is, Jeff, I don't know that his floor was as high as we thought it was.
No, probably not. Probably not. I mean, and how much of that though was circumstance driven, and how much of it is actually athletic ability? Yes, he has some athletic limitations.
Yeah, that's true. He might, an offense tailored to his abilities. He might do a lot better. So yeah,
I think you look at guys around the league like him that have managed to hang on with multiple teams as a backup because of that ability, and to just make the right decision, live to fight another day. That kind of approach is very popular among NFL head coaches, especially when you're playing a backup. The worst thing is to have a backup come in and try to be a hero and bury you with bad decisions, which is what we saw a lot of. We've seen a lot of for 25 years, right? So Gabriel, there's a certain appeal, I think, to a 60-year-old first-time head coach to know that you've got a guy like that who's you can hopefully count on, at least at some level. You know what his limitations are, and as long as you put him, like you said, in the right spot, I think he can at least get you through the week. Which Taylor Green's is going to be a wild card if you spot started.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up next. Is if you're a coach, how do you feel about these two guys? Because you know what you have in Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
You're limited with his athletic ability, but he's smart. He's not going to, at least, in your mind, he's not going to do things to hurt the team. If he hurts the team, it's going to be because of his physical limitations, not because he made a mental error.
Right.
And you've got Taylor Green, who you believe you've been working with for a while, and you think that you've taught him some things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the best athlete on the field. Okay.
Right.
I just wonder who you feel better about sticking out there.
It's
an
tough
interesting question for a coach.
Yeah, it's a tough one because, truthfully, if your choice is down to those two guys by week 12 or 13 or 14, it's really probably not about winning anymore.
Well, they're not both going to be on the team, obviously.
Well, I'm just thinking if guys of that skill set, are your choices at that point in the season, you're just trying to survive. You're not thinking about putting together a winning game plan. You're thinking, okay, we're probably going to have a higher draft pick next year. I mean, as a fan, that's the way I'm looking at it. Okay, if we're not getting at least mid-tier play out of our starting quarterback by November, then I think your focus shifts a bit. And who you play at quarterback really isn't going to matter a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah. So when you say that, you're talking about either one of the guys who has a shot to be the starter.
Yeah.
Either one.
Yeah. I mean, look, Deshaun Watson could surprise everybody in the world and figure out how to play the position again. I don't know. There's a 20% chance of that happening, maybe. That might be generous. I don't know. Shedeur Sanders could suddenly figure out that he can't play hero ball all the time and start to really make big boy decisions out there. We know he's got the talent, the physical ability, right? But if the decision making comes around and he starts looking like an NFL quarterback, then you're thinking about how do we win 9 or 10 games this year, right? And make a run at it. Yeah, terrific. But again, if it's 20% likelihood for Watson, then what is it for Sanders? 30%, 40%?
That'll play well.
Yeah, that he'll aspire to that level. I don't want to
starting QB level. I mean, I would like to think it's at least 30%, if not higher. But
okay, so
we don't know.
Let's be generous and say 40 to 50% chance, right?
Yeah.
That still is more likely that he's not going to do it than he is. So add those two guys up and you probably have 1 in 3 chance that we're going to see even mid-tier quarterback play this year consistently. We may see it at times, right? We might see it at times.
Sure, yeah.
But consistently from week to week, where our coach is going to say, "Hey, I know exactly what I'm getting from this quarterback, and I can put together a game plan around that knowledge that lets me go out and compete at the NFL level."
Right.
I mean, I'm not. People are going to say I'm Debbie Downer, and I am most of the time. I'll own that. But the truth is that there's just not a big percentage of likelihood that that's going to happen this year. I think we all know that.
Let's be fair about this. As a Browns fan, some of us like to be optimistic all the time, and we are generally wrong. Okay. We
Well,
think the
history
team's going
sort
to
of
do
bears it
well.
out
Yeah.
with this team, not necessarily everything else in life, but with this team, history bears it out.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about this with Jay, last week. That just because somebody is positive about one thing or negative about another doesn't mean they're that way in life. So you can be a
Yeah.
downer about the Browns on some things that to think that no, this is not going to work out. That doesn't mean you're that way in life. And and Jay can be always positive, Jay, but that doesn't mean he has to be positive about everything that people are saying about one of the teams. So
Right.
so there's two different, there's more than that. There's many different sides of life, and you don't have to be the same with everything. So
Look, I'm very optimistic about the team as a whole. I think in terms
the
of
general direction, right?
yeah the roster construction now with a lot of high picks in key positions. For me, that was the real measuring stick in the draft in April. Excuse me, was last year, like we said, they added a bunch of really high end players, but at non premium positions. So this year, can we add players at premium positions? Okay, well, the two wide receivers, if one of them turns into a great player, then that's really a big accomplishment. Adding a frontline player at a premium position. Okay,
Yeah.
um, we,
Yeah.
we we think Fano is going to be a stud on the offensive line somewhere for a very long time. Okay, that is a key player at a premium position. Um, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, I think, is going to be in that category as well. Where he's going to be a key piece of the defense for a very long time, and that's safety. Yes, not necessarily as premium as corner, but the way if they play him the way I think they're going to, and he sort of does a whole bunch of different things for this team, he could be one of the really key players on our defense for a very long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so if those things happen, then and I think there's a really good chance of those things happening. If you ask me to put a percentage on those, I'd say 75-80% chance that those things are going to happen, right? So I'm really optimistic about that part of it. That we're adding really high quality players across the roster, and that now gives you something to build on with free agents, with future draft picks. When the time comes that you feel that it's right to spend the money and really try to win again. That truthfully, that's where we were with this roster when the trade was made for Watson. That everybody felt like we had one of the best rosters in the league. We were close.
Yeah,
we had a good shot at winning, and all we needed to do was get a frontline quarterback, and those just don't grow on trees. So they took a big swing and a miss, as Jimmy said.
Sure did.
That is going to be gone in another season or two, and we're going to be in that window of contention again. So that's plenty to be excited about. I don't need to manufacture excitement.
Oh, you're right. You're right. So I wanted to shout out Barry Shuck with Dogs by Nature. He wrote an article, and he contacted us. He contacted me, so I didn't even touch base with Jeff on this, so I kind of feel bad. I just picked my guy and wrote about him. So I owe Jeff the chance to pick his direction on hopefully the next opportunity we get. But when I saw the option, I thought, well, if I contact Jeff without just writing this, we're gonna like talk about which guy it should be and all this stuff. So I just took 20 minutes, half hour, and wrote something up and sent it back to Barry. So, but anyway, Barry wrote a great article, not just because some of what I wrote is in it, but it's a really cool article where he has there's 4 of us who gave our opinions, and Barry has a lot of great commentary in it. It's about which Browns rookie will have the best year in 2026. And he called me an expert, so that's why I'm shouting him out. I appreciate that. But I got to tell you, Jeff, it was and so you can find that on Dogs by Nature, guys. But Barry's a great writer, and we appreciate all that he does. For the podcast, he always keeps in touch with us and everything. So definitely, if you're not following him or reading his stuff, check it out. But I got to tell you, when I went over the list, Jeff, just going through the draft picks, I'm thinking, man, there's like 4 or 5 guys I could write about, on this and make a case for that this guy could have the best season. I picked Denzel Boston just because I've talked about Denzel Boston on the show, and I think to me he's the most likely. But man, it could be any one of 4 or 5 guys. You read the article, people wrote about different guys. So it's very cool. But that's what I like about this draft class is there's so much. I don't know what the right word is. There's so much. I don't like using the word potential. There's so much promise with these guys. We feel like we've got some guys that are going to come in and do something. You don't want to put too much pressure on these guys because it is a rookie season. They've got to adjust. They got to adjust to the pro game, and they've got to learn, new playbooks, everything. I mean, it's a huge jump to go to the NFL. But these guys have great chances to contribute by being on the Browns, a team that's playing young guys. So I'm excited about all of them. I really am. But always fun to write though. But I definitely owe Jeff the opportunity to do the next one if Barry's kind enough to let us do another article.
I mean, there was interesting that a couple of you felt like Denzel Boston was the guy. So out of four people, 2 of you said Denzel Boston, and I think
I was kind of surprised nobody said Concepcion because he could honestly be the guy too, because he could be you put him back returning punts, which I assume he's going to do. Man, he runs back a couple punts.
He's going to have different opportunities.
But
I think any of those top 4 guys, you could make a case that their contribution could be really key to the outcome of this season. If Spencer Fano can be your left tackle and really settle in that position, man, that's critical. That's a really important piece. How many teams have we seen in the league that have whiffed on that? How long have we been trying to settle it since Joe Thomas retired? Right.
It's a huge difference whether that guy makes it or not.
Huge. Now there's always the fallback position that, like I said before, he could settle in somewhere else and still be a very valuable piece to the organization. But if he can really reach that top expectation of being a better than average left tackle, man, that's something we haven't had.
Well, you know what the difference is there, Jeff? The difference is, do you find a left tackle somewhere else? Because if you have a left tackle and the left tackle you drafted is fine at left guard or right tackle, then you're fine. But
Right.
if you have to move the guy from left tackle and you're still struggling to fill left tackle, then it
Right.
looks like
Right.
it's huge.
Right. Yeah, I mean the Patriots discovered it with Will Campbell, and they went and drafted another left tackle. So Caleb Lomu. So um, yeah, I think any of those four guys you could make a case. And for me, I think the guy who has the best opportunity is Emmanuel McNeil Warren to really be that difference maker. If he comes out of this season with 4 or 5 interceptions, and I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
I
Um,
don't think so.
I mean that could be huge for this team if our defense can create that kind of turnovers, if that kind of opportunities for a young offense that's really trying to establish itself, put us in short field situations, uh, let alone maybe scoring the football on some of those interceptions. Any kind of turnovers he can create will just be so huge to this young team. Either one of the receivers could be big time for us. There's going to be a lot of fighting over opportunities because there's just only so many throws to go around.
Right.
So yeah, Boston could be your guy that you've been looking for again for a long time, a big-bodied guy that can be your red zone threat and all that. And you mentioned all the stuff with Concepcion. I don't think you could be wrong with any of those guys. I think
No, I don't think so.
it's a shooting fish in a barrel thing that one of those guys is going to be really, really good this year. Okay. Jeremy says the safety, of course.
He likes safeties. Yeah.
I really appreciate when Barry does something like this, how he puts things in context. That
Yeah.
for the Browns, like you said, it's a lot easier for a rookie to have a huge impact than it would be for, say, the Seattle Seahawks, okay?
Right.
or the Los Angeles Rams, right? So yeah, the Browns is a nice environment for young guys to come in and ball out and really make a name for themselves. Let's hope that in coming years that changes. It gets harder and harder for rookies to penetrate our lineup. That's when we'll know our window of contention is here.
That's a great point. Yeah, that is a great point. And I'm going to go back to you talking about the interceptions for McNeil Warren. I don't think that's crazy. Even though, how long's it been since anybody on the Browns, any player, has had more than maybe 3 picks in a season?
Well, Devin Bush had 3 last year, and that led the team.
Yeah, it's been a long time, I think, since anybody's had more than 3.
Yeah.
I think that Mike Rutenberg is going to put an emphasis on that type of turnover with the DBs. I think you're going to see more of it, and I think that McNeil Warren and Denzel Ward will be the guys that get the majority of those interceptions. If I had to guess.
So you talk about putting defensive linemen into a scheme that they like playing in. When Jim Schwartz came here and he said, "Guys, go get the quarterback." That was their job, right? And guys just feasted on that. Now it's going to be defensive backs, go get the football.
Right.
Punch it out, intercept it. We're going to live with the bad things that happen when that doesn't work the way we want it to, right? And that be prepared because you're going to get beat sometimes with that mentality, right?
Oh yeah.
It's the old Joe Woods philosophy that I'm never going to turn the ball over, but I'm not going to get beat deep, right? So I might give up 110-yard passes, but I'm not going to give up 100-yard. So the philosophy this year is going to be take some risks, turn the ball over. Okay. And I think you have to do that with a young team.
Yeah, I think the defensive line and the linebackers are going to be good enough to be able to do that with your DBs. I think they will be. I'm trying to say that I think they'll put enough pressure that the quarterback's not going to be able to. He's not going to have the opposing quarterback's not going to have a ton of time routinely to find guys that are wide open. So hopefully, that's what I'm hoping we'll see. We'll find out when the season starts because we really don't know exactly what to expect from the defense.
Yeah.
So I think we pretty well covered the week, Jeff. We didn't talk a ton about training camp, but it's just getting started. So we got more time to talk about that. So
there's not a lot to really hang your hat on right now.
No.
It's real basic stuff the first couple of weeks. Every time somebody throws a touchdown, people are going to think it moves the needle on the quarterback competition. It doesn't.
Nah, it doesn't matter yet. Doesn't matter. I mean, the camp matters, but then you're going to have your preseason games. There's a lot that's going to happen before decisions made and before roster cut downs and all that stuff. So just be patient. Just enjoy the fact that football is back, at least in some capacity.
Yeah.
And it'll be here. We'll be watching games before we know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Any let's get Jeremy's final thoughts here, and then I'm going to go to you, Jeff, for any final thoughts. Closing thoughts.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell on the quarterback. Like I said, I don't care who starts. I think if you're really concerned about what the outcome of that will be, watch Deshaun Watson. Don't watch Shedeur. I don't think Shedeur can do anything besides be handed the job because Deshaun Watson can't do it. I don't think anything he does, I don't think is going to matter if Deshaun Watson wins the job, right? So watch Deshaun Watson. If he looks like an NFL quarterback, if he looks like the guy that we saw glimpses of over the last 4 seasons, and there were glimpses, not great glimpses, but
not a lot.
There were times I remember 11 for 11, I think, in the Ravens game 3 years ago, and then he broke his shoulder in the second half. So look, if Deshaun Watson wins the starting job, there's really nothing Shedeur Sanders can do, but be ready, because again, we know that he's going to play. Okay. Don't panic if Deshaun Watson is starting in the beginning. But again, I think there's a very high percentage chance that he's not going to get it done. And we're not going to be seeing much of him. So either way, I don't think we're going to get high-end quarterback play this season. Maybe at times. Focus on the fun stuff. Focus on, can Emmanuel McNeil-Warren get 5 interceptions, right? Focus on, can Denzel Boston get 1,000 yards receiving? Can Casey Concepcion return a couple of kicks for touchdowns? That's going to be the fun stuff this year. Don't get caught up in who the quarterback is.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm excited about the first time Taylor Green takes the field as
Oh, that'll be fun.
Just to kind of mess with the other team. So
Fourth and 3.
4th and 3, he's out there, and you don't even know if he's taking the snap or not, and the other team just ends up calling the timeout because they're just they don't know what to do.
There you go. That'll be fun.
So, all right, guys, we are part of the Fanatical Elves Network, so make sure you're checking out all of the other podcasts with all the great shows, and we appreciate that, and we always appreciate the interaction with Jeremy and Raul, and love when you guys join in. So always looking for more of that. But this has been the Browns Blitz. We thank you all for listening, and we will catch you next time.